It's showtime.
People paid good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth.
Everyone pretend podcasting isn't boring.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Hey folks, welcome to a special episode of The Projection Booth. I'm your host, Mike White. On this episode, I am talking with Seth A. Smith all about his new film, Permanent Damage. It just had its premiere over at the Fantasia Film Festival. The film stars Stephen Dorff and Calem MacDonald. Had a lot of fun talking with Seth, and I hope you have a great time listening to this. Thank you so much. Seth, tell me a little bit more about you and how you decided to become a filmmaker.
How I got started was I'm in a band called Dog Day. I think we formed, 15 years or more ago. And we hired this guy to do our music video and put a lot of work into it because I'm a visual artist. So I did all the backdrops and I did a bunch of masks. I got all these extras together. And it was a real big production at this big church that we used to play in. And for a cool song too. And we shot it and the whole thing was really inspiring. I hired this guy to film it. I knew nothing about that kind of stuff. And the next day, when I went to tried to get in touch with the guy who filmed it, I was just being ghosted. And day after day, I was like, I want to see this footage, but he was nowhere to be found. He vacated his apartment. And then later I found out he moved to Australia. And we had paid him like $3,000. And that for me at that time was like a lot of money. And I was brokenhearted, also very angry about it. But then it gave me that spark that I should just try just filming my own music videos myself and not relying on people. And so that's what kicked me off onto that path. And then eventually I just wanted to experiment a little more, work in some narrative, try longer durations. And my first film was in 2011. We filmed it on weekends. We shot it with friends and I'd write the script every week and we kind of go off and on sequentially like that. And that was called Low Life. And we made it for $5,000 and we premiered it in Fantasia, I think 2012. So it feels great to be back at Fantasia with my new film. It's like a nice little kind of circle back because the warmth of the festival really kind of encouraged me to, okay, maybe I can do this,
Tell me a little bit about your co-writer, Darcy Spidle.
I've known him for a long time. He's one of the most interesting people I know. He's one of the first times I met him. It was at a cafe. I saw him playing this show. He was a performer and he was playing this really expensive old Stratocaster with a butcher knife. And he was just with very fierce intensity and he was cutting his hands and screaming into the mic. He's wearing a ski mask and under the name Shit Cook. And I just was really struck by. I also was to an audience of nobody, the only person. And I thought this guy's very interesting. And we became good friends. And he's a really great writer as well. And he's still a great performance artist. He has he's doing a lot of interesting stuff online and on his tours. And we both have. We take turns writing and coming up with the ideas. And I think he's a great actor as well. He has a real presence and physicality that's just interesting, like a Charlie Chaplin type of physicality. And he starred in all of my films. He plays a character named Chair in this one.
I want to know more about your 2020 film, Tin Can, because it feels like it was a pandemic movie, maybe made before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was. I'm a guy who kind of gets bored easy. And I think that's why I've kind of gravitated towards films because there's so many different stages and I get to do something different every time. So yeah, we like doing different genres as well within the genre spectrum. And so yeah, that was a sci-fi film, and I don't know, I wanted to try my hand at doing something very otherworldly and surreal, and completely detached from reality. But yeah, it was pre-pandemic, and that experience was a little weird because yeah, I spent a long time filming this fake pandemic, and it was in this dark warehouse. It was a little bit, it was kind of humid and dark in there. So it wasn't the most lively production. And then spent a long time editing it. And then feeling like I was editing when you're in a dark room, it almost feels like you're under lockdown. And then the pandemic happened. So it was like a little extended for me.
How was it working with Canadian legend Michael Ironside?
Oh, he was cool. Yeah. He was an interesting character. He has some similarities to Stephen Dorff, who I worked with in this film. But Ironside, he's one of those guys. I really loved his films growing up, Scanners and Total Recall. He was just that bad guy. Like, and I remember calling him and trying to convince him to be in this weird film. He's a Canadian too. I think he's from Montreal, and though he lives in the States now. But yeah, I remember trying to convince him to be in this movie, and he liked the script. I was still kind of green, so he wasn't sure about me, but he was like, "I'll do it if I can be burned alive." And I was like, "Well," without spoiling it too much, he was just the only character I wanted in the movie to not die, just to kind of remain in captivity. And I was like, "Sorry, Michael, we can't die." And he's like, "Well, what about burned in acid?" And I kind of realized, yeah, I started realizing he does kind of collect all these deaths. He dies really brutally in most of his films. So he likes collecting. But yeah, it's almost like a debate between us. Did he die or didn't he die? No, he's got a good presence, and yeah, he's a sweetheart.
I want to know how the idea for permanent damage came to you.
I was in a point where I was just trying to think of the new projects, because usually I have a lot lined up. At that time, I didn't. Something else, I couldn't make one, and I was like, okay, I got to think of a new project quickly. And I was talking to Darcy, and I was building this art studio, a little art studio. And yeah, the foamers I had these spray foamers, and they're spray foaming the foundation. And for anyone who doesn't know what spray foam is, it's like this liquid insulation, and it really has this expansive quality. They put it on, kind of like spray it like glue, and then it foams up and really expands like a mushroom cloud. You can really get carried away if you're not careful. But yeah, they were just kind of spraying the foundation, and I, for whatever reason, the thought it'd be interesting in a movie to bury a body. That's what came to my mind. And Darcy was also renovating his house. He has a really ancient old house. And yeah, we both started thinking about home renovation. And there's also a lot of housing stuff going on in our town. We're in this really growth phase right now where they're kind of trying to build a lot of housing in Nova Scotia. That's where I'm from. And yeah, to make more housing. And so you see a lot of old places come down and a lot of new places pop up. That kind of setting kind of definitely leaked in, and so we started thinking about doing something not about the housing crisis, but as a backdrop for a particular type of film of broken characters. Actually, the townhouse complex where we shot it we were able to shoot in this place because it was actually totally vacated and slated for demolition. They're to build more housing, which is good. But yeah, it was really interesting shooting in this. It was almost like this Wild West ghost town where we could be loud, we could run around. It was very eerie in a time where housing is scarce, vacancies are scarce, and to have this place we only had a week to shoot those scenes. So yeah, it was an interesting time there.
I want to know a little bit more about your cast, because you already mentioned Stephen Dorff. It's always great to see him show up and stuff, but I'm so curious about Claire Coulter, Calem MacDonald, just really great performances in this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm just very happy with the performances we got for sure. Calem, Claire, Olivia gave Meacher. He's cool too. Johnny Shreve. He's like a really cool, legendary bodybuilder in Halifax. I think he won sixth place in the Olympians. And Chair, my co-writer. It was the cast. I was just very proud of them. We did a massive call out for auditions just because I knew we had a bunch of quirky characters, and I just wanted to make sure we could find the strongest people we could. I wasn't picturing this there's a lot of roles, so I wasn't going to get big names for all of these. But I'll just pick a couple. But he's actually from where I live, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and he was in my friend Jason Eisner's film Kids versus Aliens, where he plays a lot of a different character, and I liked him. But because he played such a different character, I wasn't sure about this film. But he kind of turned up in the casting, and him and Olivia both, they really just got the characters as they were written in the script, but they also offered this really interesting, a lot of new elements that really brought life to the characters. Olivia brought a lot of motion, movement, and energy, which is really cool. And Calem, he really developed this kind of insecure, passive kind of demeanor that really worked on screen. And the relationship too, you always get like these good leads, but for a romantic film like this, you have to have if there's no chemistry, it's not going to work at all. We had a few chem reads with different people, but together they really work. And as we filmed more and they were hanging out, they're best friends in shooting. I thought they had a terrific chemistry on the production and on screen. And the whole thing was usually I'm making very dark, kind of depressing films generally. And sometimes it can weigh a lot on you. This one, we did, Darcy and I were decided let's write something a little more lighthearted that doesn't take itself too seriously. Maybe it won't be such a bad ending. Then when we're going through this for 4 years of developing and producing it, we won't feel so bad. But part of it that I realize is when you actually shoot the thing with a bunch of people, when you're hearing these jokes and the lines and people are laughing, I can see why shooting comedies, it becomes a real party. Our film was, at least. Every day felt like a party that we were just, okay, we got to get a little work done too here, guys, but it was a bunch of laughs, and we're all still very good friends. A lot of them came up to the premiere here in Fantasia, so it was nice to reconnect.
I believe you, but I have a hard time picturing all the laughs whenever I see that performance from Stephen Dorff, because he's so freaking intense all the time.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that maybe that wasn't the case when you called cut.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. But the thing is, just the way productions go, you have to, you can't shoot in order all the time. So we actually we shot most of the film without him. And then I think he just came for a week or so just at the end. So it was, we kind of had I'm not saying it wasn't a party when he was there, but the tone changes a little, because then that's where all the conflict starts happening. And it's a different tone. And so you get a little of that when you watch the film. It is a bit of it's like a carnival ride. It's like, it's fun and bubbly and there's a lot of partying, but then there's some dark moments as well. It kind of goes up and down, which is what I was trying to do. And I think I pulled it off. Dorff did a terrific job bringing that aggressive, just that menacing character that was needed. We had looked at a couple other people, but I feel like if we had gone with anyone else, it wouldn't quite be the same, because he really knew what to do with that guy. I think he was interested he told me he was in the script when I first approached him, because he hadn't quite played a character like that, or it's kind of, but he also is familiar. He's been in John Waters films and in SFW. He's familiar with kind of like this elevated kind of way of acting, almost like it's a comic book where things are just a little over the top. And I see the film as a fairy tale, so it's not a realistic movie. But he was able to, so bring a little dread and some of this tension, but also kind of play it up a bit. And I think even, if you look hard enough, he has some heart in the film as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned comic book, him as Deacon Frost from the original Blade. That's one of my favorite performances.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he's cool on that. Yeah, he's just done so much. Him in True Detective as well was a great performance. I feel like he's one of these guys. He grew up in the time where when they were making films, they chose him, Brad Pitt, or Leonardo DiCaprio. And those other two kind of went off in the Hollywood direction. He kind of stayed in the shadows a little bit, but I think he's a bit of an untouched gem because I think he's a real talented guy.
And speaking of talented, I mentioned Canadian superstar Michael Ironside before, but I am so curious, what was it like to work with Stephen McHattie?
Oh, he's cool. I get along with McHattie. He's an interesting cat for sure. And see, before I casted him, I did, I was holding wide auditions for that, and I was getting. It's a funny role. It's just as this kind of eccentric pet store owner, and I just saw so many different takes on it, which was really cool. A lot of Texan accents for some reason. But he's been in a lot of films I really like, in bigger films, and I didn't really get a chance to audition him. I just, I asked him, would you be interested? And he was interested in the script. And it wasn't until he came to set that we could actually see which direction we're going to go with this. And I mentioned, I saw a bit of, David Lynch and Andy Warhol in the character. But I think what ended up happening is he was kind of drawn more to a William Burroughs approach. And I thought it was fantastic. And it was a large ask. He's in a tub for a long time. It was quite a long shoot. And we were lucky to have him, though, because not every actor would want to do what he did. But I really loved what he did with the character. And we also had there's this thing for people when they see the movie, there's this drug that it alters your voice. And I wrote this thing about it for all the actors to see, but it kind of makes your tongue stand erect in your mouth. And that's how it distorts your voice. And then subtitles kind of pop up if the viewers can't understand. But it was really important that all the actors be able to do that together the same. And even though they're all kind of in at different times, it all seemed to work out really well.
I know you don't know any different than this because you've done this for so many of your movies, but what is it like scoring your own films?
I love it. Maybe there is some day where I won't score my own films, and it might be a challenge for me to because for me, it's just so integral. I think I'm planning the music as I'm writing it. A lot of times I'll have a metronome by me and I'll just be tapping on it, thinking of pacings of the scenes. But also with Tin Can, we did a lot of heartbeat synchronization and light timing. There's a lot of flashing lights on musical beats and stuff. I come from a music video background and music as well. But I do see it all as kind of one thing, the music and the sound. Even the dialogue sometimes. I do my own sound design as well. So I feel I have more control to sculpt everything and sculpt the kind of tone and atmosphere with it. And it is it's a little fun reward. Yeah, shooting in the production phase is very athletic. It's hustle, and then editing. You're sitting on a couch and it's more grueling, and there's a lot of problems you have to solve. But after that's done, just kind of laying some music, and everything's already there, all the tone and the feelings and the mood. But you can guide it a little more. Some people use music to manipulate the audience. I try to actually do the opposite. If it's going one way, I might go the other. But I do find it fun. It's a release for me. The only problem is sometimes it's the last phase of filming, so it gets a little rushed. Sometimes you have to whip through it. But yeah, a lot of times some of the pieces I'll have written before I even shoot.
You're talking about shaping the film, and so much of that for me is editing. You've done a ton of editing of your own work. Did you edit this one as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's another thing. I'm definitely a control freak. I'd like to work with an editor because I think you can get trapped in a hall of mirrors. You know the material very well in the script if you're a writer as well, which I am. And then you shoot it all and you're also doing what you want there. But there is a lot of value in the editing phase, I would think, to have other eyes on it. And what I do is I edit it and then we'll have a test screening or other people look at it. And then there's a lot, you get tunnel vision. Sometimes you get obsessed with certain things, you like certain things, but it's sometimes when you just work on each thing and you're not taking a break, it's hard to see your surroundings. Where are you? So I'd like to work with another editor someday closely. It's just, I have a very specific kind of taste and it would have to be the right person. But I do find doing all these things, it's great when you get a lot more control in your vision, but also it just takes so much time. This film took a long time to come out just because a normal film would do all these post-production things simultaneously, whereas I have to kind of do one. Once that's done, do the next, and it kind of gets prolonged that way.
When was it that this person absconded with your money and headed out to Australia?
What was that? It was in the 2000s. It was quite a while. It was in another band, actually. That was the Burdocks, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Man,
shouldn't say the name, but yeah, it still haunts me to this day.
I'm just amazed at just how you're like, okay, out of necessity, I need to learn how to use this camera. And here you are sitting on feature films and no stopping you, right? So it's just wild.
Yeah, that's right. And I say this to people because I really didn't have much at all. I think people just, when I see new filmmakers, that are they're worried because they can't get funding or they can't get the right gear or they need some fancy thing. It's just make something with what you have. See what you can get away with. You can shoot films on phones now. I'd be doing that if phones were like that when I was at that stage. For low life, I didn't have any gear. I basically ran into a guy at a party and he said I could borrow his camera to film it for a couple weeks. I ended up holding on to that camera for a year. And that guy was Mike Clattenburg, the creator of Trailer Park Boys. And I borrowed a mic to record the audio and little steps. And then the movie after that, I still couldn't get funding. And I got a little royalty check from my music and Dog Day. And I just shot the film in an Airbnb just in a few weeks. And then once that film started, I was showing it around, then I was able to get some finishing funds. And you try to build up and up. All movies don't have to be made in a cookie cutter format with a 30-person crew and all the bells and whistles. I think there's a lot of different formulas and ways of making a picture.
I love that. It comes from that punk rock DIY aesthetic, I would think.
Absolutely, yeah. I believe in punk rock, yeah, attitude for sure. PMA and get it done.
Seth, where's the best place for people to keep up with you and with your films?
We have a couple websites and things, but probably just the socials. I'm just Seth A. Smith, all one word. And the film, we're going to have a premiere at a hometown show at the Atlantic International Film Festival, which is always a good time. And then we're hoping for a nice one in the US. And then, yeah, releasing the movie, I don't know, maybe in the winter, I'd expect. So yeah, just keep a look. I guess I'm most prevalent on Instagram, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, Seth, thank you so much for your time, especially taking the time out during the festival. I really appreciate this.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for checking the film out. And I love talking to you about this. And let's do it again sometime. Next one.
You got things to discuss then. I don't wanna know. Two heads you say I'm better than one. Well, girlie, that's something better than me. So tell me now we're done. Permanent damage to everything, everything. As you came and you took all I had with your looks. Nothing strange about that, so it seems. As you came and you took all I had with your looks. Nothing strange about that, so it seems. I foresee complications if I stay around here. I need the time nor the patience. Faced with this atmosphere. Two heads you say I'm better than one. Well, girlie, that's something, that's something. Tell me now we're done. Permanent damage to everything, everything. That's something, that's something. You tell me now we're done. I'm permanent damage to everything, everything.